Let me tell you about a guy named Evan. Evan wasn't your average dude. He was a night janitor at an old, creaky library, the kind of place where the lights flickered like they couldn't decide whether to stay on or just give up completely. The library wasn't exactly bustling. Most people didn't even know it was open anymore, but Evan liked it that way. He was the kind of guy who preferred silence over small talk, dusty books over digital screens, and routines that no one else cared to notice. Every night, it was the same. Mop the floors, dust the shelves, straighten the chairs. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid the bills and left him with plenty of time to think, or more often, to not think. Until one night, it started as a soft, rhythmic tapping. First, Evan thought it was rain hitting the windows. But the sound wasn't coming from the windows. It was coming from deep within the library, somewhere in the maze of shelves in the back where no one ever went. He froze, his mop still dripping dirty water onto the floor. The tapping stopped. Evan shook it off. Old buildings make noises, right? Probably just some loose pipe or maybe a bird stuck in the rafters. But as soon as he turned back to his work, the tapping started again. Louder this time and faster. His heartbeat started to match the rhythm of the sound. Against every shred of common sense, Evan decided to investigate. He grabbed his flashlight, the one he used to check the boiler room, and followed the noise. The deeper into the library he went, the colder it seemed to get. Rows of books loomed on either side, their spines like silent sentinels watching him pass. The tapping grew louder and more deliberate, like it was waiting for him. When he reached the far corner of the library, he found the source. A single book lying open on the floor. Strange, because Evan knew he hadn't been in this section tonight, and the cleaning staff during the day wouldn't leave a book just sitting there. He bent down, his flashlight beam trembling, and picked it up. The book wasn't like anything else in the library. Its cover was plain, black, with no title, no author. Just the weight of it in his hands felt off. He flipped through the pages, all of them blank, until he reached the middle, where one sentence was scrawled in handwriting so sharp it looked like it could cut the paper. "If you're reading this, it's too late." Evan laughed nervously. "What, like a Drake album?" he muttered to himself, trying to break the tension. But then the words began to shift. Right there, in front of his eyes, the ink seemed to melt and reform, arranging itself into a new sentence. "They know you're here." Evan dropped the book and stumbled backward, his flashlight flickering wildly. "Okay," he said out loud, his voice shaky. "This is some kind of joke, right? Like someone's messing with me. Great job, you got me." But the library was empty, silent, too silent. The tapping was gone, replaced by something worse. A whisper, soft and low, like dozens of voices murmuring just out of earshot. Evan turned, but his flashlight barely cut through the darkness now. The shelves seemed closer than they had been before, leaning in as if trying to hear him breathe. He backed away, only to trip over the book, which was now closed but humming, literally humming, vibrating against the floor. Against his better judgment, Evan picked it up again as if drawn to it. The pages fluttered open, and a single word stared back at him. "Run." He didn't need to be told twice. Evan bolted for the front of the library, his boots pounding against the floor, the whispering growing louder, more frantic, like it was chasing him. As he reached the door, he realized with horror that it wouldn't budge. Locked. The lights above him flickered one last time before going out completely. In the pitch black, Evan could feel the air change, growing heavy and thick, like the library itself was alive. His flashlight flickered back on for a brief second, and in that moment, he saw them. Shadowy figures lining the shelves, their eyes glowing faintly like embers in the dark. They weren't people, not anymore. Their forms were twisted, unnatural. Their fingers long and clawed, clutching books as if their lives, or whatever was left of them, depended on it. Evan's mind raced, and then it hit him, the book. Maybe it wasn't a threat. Maybe it was a warning. Trembling, he opened it again. The words were back, rearranging themselves rapidly, forming a sentence that made his stomach drop. One must stay. The meaning was clear. Someone had to take the place of those shadows, the guardians of whatever cursed knowledge this library held. He could feel the presence behind him now, closing in, the air cold and electric. The book's final message appeared, "Choose wisely." He turned to face the shadows, his flashlight barely holding on. And then, with shaking hands, Evan did the only thing he could think of. He threw the book. The figures stopped, their glowing eyes locked on the book as it skidded across the floor. For a moment, the whispers stopped, replaced by a low, guttural hum that seemed to vibrate through Evan's chest. Slowly, the shadows turned, not toward him, but toward the book. And one by one, they disappeared into the pages, their forms melting into ink until the book slammed shut with a deafening thud. The lights flickered back on. The door unlocked. Evan didn't wait to see what would happen next. He ran out of the library and never looked back. But sometimes, late at night, he swore he could still hear the tapping. And he knew, deep down, that the library wasn't done with him yet.